Sweet. So today we are here with Veronika Dash, an actor and model, who surprised her boyfriend with the first ever couples energy portrait. So hello, Veronika. Thanks for hopping on the call. If you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So like Grace said, I'm an actress and model. I grew up in New York. I did a lot of theater. I was always around art and stage, and New York's like a great place to grow up, to be so immersed in that. So I've always been like a big fan of artists in general. And then I moved to Los Angeles. I studied at USC, the School of Dramatic Arts. And I was completely new to the school and new to Los Angeles. And one of the first people I met was someone named Andrew, and I met him on set. I was doing like a short film, and he was the director, and that was my first encounter with him 13 years ago. So he was my best friend kind of the entire duration
Sweet.
of those 13 years. Yeah, until very recently.
Sweet. Well, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But so tell me, like, you kind of touched on a little bit, but like, what's your relationship with art? Like, how long have you been interested in it? Because I know art has like various forms, because what you do is an art form and what I do is also an art form.
Right.
So how long have you, tell me about that.
It's interesting. I mean, I've always loved going to museums. And I loved history museums, but for me, going to like the Met in New York or Guggenheim, that was always something that I really loved doing. And I also liked getting a tour. Like, I didn't just like looking at the art. I liked learning about the artist or the time period or what inspired them, and how, there's like such a apparent evolution of art. So when I was in college, I actually took a class called painting and poetry.
Okay.
And to this day, I mean, that was one of the best classes of my life. It was just the coolest thing, because we would either read a poet and then find a poem that inspired us and then paint an image from
Okay.
that, or vice versa. We would have these trips to, local museums, and we would find an image, an art piece that spoke to us, and then we would write about it. So it was kind of encapsulating so many different forms of expression, not only art in paint, but art in words too. And yeah, I've always just really loved supporting artists, because I know how much work goes into it, whether it's in front of a camera, on a stage, or on a canvas. So it's just something that, yeah, I guess I've always tried to be a cheerleader for.
Sweet. And poetry is also a big part of your artistic practice too, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sweet. So there's another one for you.
Yeah, you came to my first slam poetry, if I'm not
Yes, I did.
mistaken.
It was good to see you in action. So, all right, let's go back to sort of, when was it, last summer? So what was going on in your life like last summer? Like about the time that you kind of showed up here for a cookout, and we didn't even like see each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what was going on there? Like career, like life, emotional, like tell me about that.
I think that, it was such an interesting time, because it was about a year after the pandemic. And at least for me, my life felt very like all over the place. Work really wasn't the same. Relationships were, dating was so difficult. Everything just seemed kind of not organized in a way. It was kind of like dispersed. And I kind of felt this need to start over, which is strange to say when you like do a career for a long time, to feel like you need to start from scratch in a way. And I think that, that meant I had to get a new team. So I was, firing my manager and replacing a lot of the team around me. And yeah, in addition to that, I feel like I took all of the pandemic just to focus on myself and, do things that help with like personal growth. And I know we talked about this too, I took a class with Sonia and learned about, just unlocking different parts of your brain or things that maybe have been blocking you to get to that next level that you feel like you're ready for.
Yes.
I think when we met, that's kind of where I was at.
So going back to the first time that you saw my art, can you kind of explain what you were feeling or what was attracting about it to you?
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you before, the first thing I actually saw was this mannequin covered in paint.
Yeah, that's Vivian. She's famous.
Ah, Vivian. I mean, it was just such a cool thing. I've never seen that really done before. I've also never seen that as a piece of art in someone's house. And I think that's when I first like inquired about who the artist was. And then as I walked around the house, I noticed, more and more paintings, and they felt so vibrant and also so different. And in a way, like they kind of spoke to me. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's actually the first thing I notice, I think, when I go into someone's house is the art they have on the walls. And I think that original art is just always so much more interesting to me. Um and yeah, I was like, tell me who made this, because I need one.
Yeah, that's like going to Marshall's and picking up like a random flower painting. Sure, if that's your vibe, but there's something special about like curating your space and really just like picking out something that represents you to hang in your space, which then leads perfectly into this energy portrait that we decided together that we were going to do. So we met up for coffee, we chatted for a good amount of time, and
Yeah.
what was the initial reaction of the energy portrait like when I was talking to you? We did cover a lot of topics that day about like energy healing and
Yeah.
just we were just talking about our lives too.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that stuck out to me too is like when we were talking about auras and how every person who walks by has a different aura, and how sometimes as an artist you could either like feel it or you could see it. And I think one of the first things you said was that mine felt like yellow or
Yeah, yellow and pinkish. Yeah.
pink and orange. And it was funny because I mean, I'm not going to pan around my room now, but those are like the colors that kind of represent me. And so when we were talking about energy portraits, I was like, wow, that would be so interesting to have a piece of art that sort of is so personal, where it only encapsulates your energy. And obviously that was at the time, I think when we were talking about it, I was still single. So I was just like, I want an energy portrait for myself.
Yeah, that's true. We were only focusing on you at that time. And then
Yeah.
it evolved into a gift for your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Soon to be boyfriend. Best friend turned boyfriend.
Is that the title of this? Best friend turned boyfriend energy portrait.
Sweet. So yeah, the energy portrait basically it takes your vibration or what I'm feeling from you, and we put it onto a canvas. Before we get deeper into that, how did the energy healing that you did with Sonia at the center of the seven rays, how did that sort of like affect where you were at the coffee shop talking with me, and then going forward to the time where we actually did the painting?
Well, the day I saw Sonia was the last day I was single, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I was kind of I had been given this new information after this trip to Tulum, which we named the painting Rosa Negra, which is the place where my best friend confessed his love. And so we took some time when we got back to LA to figure out what the next steps would be. And I had already scheduled Sonia way before any of this had happened. And so it was a really cool experience with her to sort of let go of the past in a way and open up space for new information, new adventures, new opportunities. and kind of stepping into like a new version of yourself. And I feel like it all kind of intertwines at some point, you know. And I think one of the coolest things when we were working on the painting too is like having specific words written on the canvas prior to you even painting over it. So it's almost like we set intentions how you would in like a new moon, or, you know,
Yep.
a diary, or you know, the secret kind of thing, things you want to call into your life. And so it was really cool to, you know, have like love and success and
Friendship, I think.
friendship and uh you know, destiny, all these things kind of underneath the painting in general, which, I mean, I've never experienced before, and I don't know anyone else who has either.
That's the cool thing about energy work. It opens a lot of doors and it also closes a lot of doors. And it also starts working immediately when you sort of like commit to booking a session. So when you booked the session with Sonia, that day, all new energy was already starting to like come in and work with you.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see transformations in people. And I've had a lot in my own life too. So that was just really cool for me to experience from an outside perspective, looking and watching you grow.
Yeah.
And the energy portrait, yes. So we decided that we're gonna do a couple's energy portrait, and you brought that up to me, and I was like, "How are we gonna do that?" But I was like, "Of
Yeah.
course, it can happen. Why not?" The first step for the energy portrait was picking out the color palette, and if possible, I'd like to have people come with me to the store. How was that for you? Was it cool to just like grab some colors or sort of
Oh
think
yeah.
what was going on?
Well, A, I love shopping for anything. But B, um, yeah, I think it was, it was really cool to like watch your mind at work and see, you know, the kind of colors you gravitated towards, and the colors that in my mind I was like, "Ooh, I like that one." And then as I was thinking it, you would like grab it. And I was like, "Yes, I want that color." And yeah, because it kind of makes you feel like you're part of the process in a way that's unique than just, you know, receiving a painting that's already finished. You're kind of there from the beginning. And I think even sometimes you'd be like, "What do you think of this color?" And I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I trust you, but also, you know, maybe it'll be like somewhere mixed in there, you know? And
Yeah, yeah.
so it was like a good compilation of like ideas and directions. And you know, at the end, kind of seeing all the colors together, I think we like laid that out in our video. It was just really cool. And I had no idea what it was going to look like. I couldn't really tell you, looking at the painting now, like I had no expectations in a way.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part because I have no idea either.
Right. Exactly.
Like literally, we're making decisions on the spot. We went to your house and we started painting. We set the intentions, which is something that we do to like really establish the energy and like the whole vibration of the painting. And then I just kind of, you played some music and then just kind of went at it. So what was it like watching me like paint your aura in front of your eyes?
I mean, it was really cool. I think that watching you just like splatter all these like beautiful colors and like turn the canvas around and like spin it, and you know, it was really cool. And it was also really interesting to watch the change from like my side of the painting. And I think we were probably playing like Justin Bieber or Beyonce or
Yes, a
something
lot
like
of Justin Bieber. Yeah.
and then and then when we were doing Andrew's side, and like you said, you've met him once before and I've sent you a couple photos, but I think we were playing Machine Gun Kelly, and it was like suddenly, you know, the pinks and the yellows went to like the dark blues and the purples and the dark greens and some blacks and reds, and it was like almost like intuitive, kind of like your color choices with like the sound of uh you know, the music and the vibrations and the frequencies of that and how that changed. And any person who has come into the house, first of all, that's the first thing they notice because it's right in the in our, whatever it's called, not
Foyer.
living room, but yeah, the foyer with the ping pong table. And they'll read the plaque that we made that describes the painting, but then just as an observer, they'll be like, oh, this side's your side, this side's Andrew's side. And I'm like, that's weird, because most, like, how do they know that? I'm not telling them anything. So that's been like cool also to see how, from watching you paint it and ingrain it with those intentions to an outsider coming in and actually seeing that and calling it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do you feel like your energy and Andrew's energy were captured with this painting?
Oh, absolutely.
He didn't know about this, right?
Oh no, he had zero clue.
And
I mean, we did our best in like hiding this huge thing.
Yeah,
and he, trying to get the very little bits of paint off the, wherever it was. But I just said that I was painting something because on occasion I will. And that's why I painted my little version of wherever it is. But yeah, no, he had absolutely no idea. And we've talked about getting a painting for that wall. And he was like, oh, like, let's look online. I'm like, no. I'm like, I want something custom made. I want something that's like no one else is going to have.
Yes.
And so, yeah, he was away on a business trip and we snuck it in right before Valentine's Day.
Yeah. What was his reaction on Valentine's Day morning? Was he excited? Like, what was his like reaction to one, like the painting, and then two, once you started to explain it to him, like what it actually like represents and what it's hanging in your house to really like hold this certain vibration and emanate and act as like a vision board on steroids, because you guys can see that every day, and then all that energy that you and I put in it should be shining at him in the face. So he must feel something. So I'm very curious to hear about his reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I filmed it too, because sometimes it's like hard to explain a person's reaction. I wrapped it so that he wouldn't know what it was, but obviously it was a rectangle and it was large. So he had some kind of semblance of what it was.
Yeah.
But I think at first he was just like shocked at its magnitude and at how just like vibrant it was. And then once I had him unwrap the plaque, which we explained what it was and what an energy portrait is, and that we kind of infused all these things into the process, I think he was just really shocked because, well, A, no one's done that for him before, but B, I don't think he's ever seen that before, period. So I think it was just like doubling down on all of the things, on like the surprise, factor that we were able to do this without him knowing. And then the fact that it was sort of like this harmony of us coming together that's reflected through the energy and colors of the portrait. And that also it was like visible to him which side was his, which side represented him, and then how in the middle it kind of like it molds into its own color. So it's like there's my side, his side, and then the center, which is so beautiful.
The convergence points. If I'm remembering, there's definitely some of your pink that's traveling over onto his side, and then I believe there's some like blue or red that's coming into your side. So it's like the arms reaching out, like finally grabbing and like just becoming one energy.
Yeah.
That's great that he liked it.
I mean, I couldn't imagine him not liking it. I'd be like,
pretty
you
cool.
know how long this took to make.
Oh yeah, how long did it take?
Difficult it was to hide.
And the wind that day was insane, but we managed.
Never been that windy ever again.
Yeah.
Never.
There was some resistance, but we powered through. So after all of that experience, where are you at now in life? And how have things shifted from the first time that you came to our house and after talking to us at the coffee shop, like, and after the life activation with Sonia, where are you at now? You have the energy portrait in your house. You just look at it, I'm assuming every day because it's huge.
Every day. Yeah.
So like, what's going on?
I mean, it's interesting because I haven't really thought about that until you asked, I guess. But if you really like sit down and reflect, I feel like everything's different. Like obviously now I am in a committed relationship with my best friend who's the best, and it's been almost 11 months. It's been 10 months now. I got a new manager who I love and who really seems to understand the direction that I want to go in that has been really lacking in my previous representation. And yeah, we both went on this like crazy fitness journey. We did this thing called 75 hard, and we both completed it. It was 75 days of, no drinking, working out twice a day, drinking a gallon of water, reading 10 pages. I mean, it was a pretty intense mental and physical transformation. And I think just in general, like the energy of our home is so it's very elevated. I feel like anyone who walks into the house always says like, wow, like it feels like I feel really good energy here. And yeah, I just feel like everything's sort of moving into the direction that I wanted. And it's like life in general, life is a journey, but I feel like where I am now versus where I was when we had coffee and talked about it is like literally two different people.
You were saying that people notice the energy when you walk into your house and how it's like elevated. And I feel like that is kind of relevant of the fact that before you had two people who were just like kind of friends, there may have been some underlying feelings that weren't expressed, but when those things are expressed, there's no more barriers, so things are just now flowing freely and everything's radiating, even the plants.
Yeah, exactly.
And the painting is definitely helping keep that energy alive with all the intention that we set behind the canvas, which nobody would even know about besides you if you didn't even say anything.
Right. Yeah, it's like it does kind of serve as a daily reminder in a way. It's like, some people will put Post-its on their bathroom mirror and say like, I am strong, or some people will write in a journal every day and say like, these are the things I want to accomplish. And it's like walking past the painting literally every day for as long as we're home. It's just like a reminder of all the things that you have been working towards manifesting. And yeah, kind of like the reminder of the love that has just kind of exploded.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And would you recommend energy portraits for other people?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's almost like a staple to have in your space, whether it's like your home, your office, your studio where you work. I think it's just like such a beautiful reminder of who you are, who you want to be, and everything in the middle. And it kind of just keeps you inspired in a way and keeps you motivated and happy. I don't know. Art makes you happy.
It does, especially when it's made specifically for you based off of your energy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Really happy for you. And I'm also very excited to see what happens next, because I know you've been working hard.
And I think the energy portrait, it reminds you that you are alive and like you have so much going for you, and like the future is ahead of you, and all the things that you want is within your grasp. And yeah, it really does like radiate that energy every day.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. So I'm really happy that it's lighting up your life, to say. Well, thank you for chatting with me. I do have one question. Like, what do you want to share with everybody else? Like, what are you working on right now? Where can people find you? Any cool projects that you're working on or being released soon?
Yeah, I mean, so I actually worked on this project with Andrew a couple weeks ago, and it was really fun because I was part of the process of like developing the character, which is always really fun for me. And you know, in general, as actors, unless you're working on stage, a lot of it is sort of based on your looks or like, what kind of boxes do you check off for this role? And so Andrew asked me, like if you could play any role, what would it be? And I just sort of came up with this character that's like, she was a former beauty pageant queen, kind of had everything going for her. And then in one day, she kind of lost everything. She was in a car crash on the way to a pageant, and her face got disfigured from the airbag,
Mm,
from the heat of the airbag, and it left her with these like third-degree burns. And then her boyfriend actually passed away. So it was like um, a very dramatic scene. But anyway, it's a video that just came out, and I could send you the link, and
please
you
do.
can share. Yeah. And then other than that, yeah, I know that like iCarly just got renewed for another season. I was one of the characters on the last season, which was really fun. I played Ramona, the nuclear scientist.
Nice. I think I saw that episode actually.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then yeah, other than that, just working on, my poetry, and um trying to figure out how to write a romantic comedy,
Nice.
since I have a good story to
You
tell.
do. Yeah, you have a very good one. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see the video and to eventually watch your romantic comedy. And thank you so much for hopping on the call with me. And it was amazing to hear how the painting has just been flourishing in your space.